Welcome back to another episode of the Hands On Experience Podcast. Again, this podcast is about me being hands on, coaching you, educating you, teaching you about leadership development, career growth, career transitions, and accountability. So let's keep going on this ride. I want to wish everyone a happy new year. Hope that you got your goals set and your mind's right to go into this new year and accomplish all the things that you set out to. All right. So today's episode is on leadership. Okay, and it's going to be about developing leaders of tomorrow, and leaders having an understanding that their team members' challenges are problems worth solving. Right. So we live in a new world almost every single day, and we need new world changers, okay? And that's what developing leaders of tomorrow is all about. That's what it's all about. Helping your team members become leaders so they can get in the position that you're in. Not take your position, but get in that same position because they have the same type of goals to climb that ladder and be in leadership positions. But they need the GPS, they need the map, they need the guidance to get there. And that starts with you. Anyone that's in a leadership position, management position, doesn't matter. Okay? So your big coaching tip of the day, all right? Coaching tip of the day is being patient as a leader. You got to have active listening because that will help you get to the core of your team's challenges, all right? They lead, you follow. That's what having patience as a leader is all about, okay? And understanding that active listening is a great communication skill that's needed with all leaders. It's terribly needed, all right? So active listening is treating listening as an active process rather than a passive one, okay? This means participating in conversation rather than acting as an audience, okay? When you're a leader. Active listeners show you are listening, encourage sharing, and strive to understand your team. All right, so there's different ways of being an active listener. The first way is showing that you're listening. You got to show you're listening, okay? That means putting away distractions, your computers, using your phone, doing other things while listening sends the message that your team members' words are not important. All right, so your computers, your phones, all of the things you're doing, you got to put them away. Because if you don't, again, it's going to show that what they're trying to tell you is not important. Okay, so putting away distractions allows you to focus on the conversation and help them feel heard. Okay, and this also opens up for them to freely come to you with information that you probably need that they have, that you don't have, right? You have to use verbal and nonverbal communication to show you're listening. Body language, short verbal cues that match your team members affect responding exactly if they affect. Example, let me repeat that again. Body language, short verbal cues that match your team members affect, show interest, and empathy. Okay, responding exactly as they are responding excitedly as they are excited. Okay, if it's verbal, use your mm-hms and your mm-ms and your that's interesting and that makes sense and I see. Those are verbal communications that can show your team members that you're listening. Nonverbal is nodding in agreement and reacting to emotional comment, smiling, eye contact, eye contact. All right. So verbal and nonverbal communication It's very important to show that you are listening when you're in a conversation with your team members. The next one is, and you have to encourage sharing. Okay, you have to ask open-ended questions, and these are questions that encourage elaboration rather than yes or no responses. Okay, open-ended questions tell your team member you are listening and you want to learn. Okay, your team members need to know that you want to learn, not just from them, but just yourself. You know, get educated. Show them that you want to learn in all aspects of the job. Okay. For example, what is it like to fill in the blank? Okay. How did you feel when fill in the blank? Can you tell me more about fill in the blank? How do you fill in the blank? Okay. What do you like about fill in the blank? What are your thoughts about fill in the blank? So those are different types of open-ended questions that you can ask your team member to get them to open up and share with you their thoughts and things that can really help you and help your team. Okay? You have to use reflections, right? In your own words, summarize team members' most important points, but be sure to include emotional content. If it was only communication through tone and body language, okay? So again, let me repeat that again. In your own words, summarize your team's most important points. Be sure to include emotional content, even if it was only communicated through tone or body language. Okay? Give you an example. Team member. This is them talking. I have been working hard. Spit it out, Reg. This is your team member. I've been having a hard time at work. There's way too much to do, and I can't keep up. My immediate supervisor is mad because my work isn't done, but I can't help it. Here's a leader, manager, or whatever position you have in the leadership role. It sounds like you're doing your best to keep up, but there's so much work. That sounds stressful. Let's all have a discussion to see how we can resolve this. All right? So that leader answered that team members' stress in the right way. Okay, didn't shut them down, didn't make them feel like they're not important. They made them feel like, okay, I understand where you're coming from. We're gonna meet with your direct supervisor and we're gonna see how we can solve this. Okay, you have to strive to understand when it comes to being an active listener. Right, you got to be present. Okay, you got to be present. Listening means paying attention to body language, tone, and verbal content. Okay? Focus your attention on listening instead of other mental distractions. We've all been there where you're talking to someone and you're there and you're looking at them, but your mind is somewhere else. Okay? And you're also thinking of what next to say. So don't do that. All right? When you're listening to somebody, don't wait to respond. Listen to understand. Okay? When possible, save sensitive conversations for a quiet time with very few distractions. All right? You have to listen with an open mind. Your job is to understand your team member's point of view, even if you don't agree. Okay? Avoid forming opinions and making judgments until you fully understand their perspective. Okay? Like the old saying goes, you gotta dot all your I's and cross your T's. Make sure you have a full understanding of what they're going through before you give a response. Okay. The next thing about developing future leaders is team member engagement. So important. So important. I call this team member engagement 101. Okay. It's got to be meaningful engagement, right? For leaders and their team members to collaborate effectively, it's important that your people are meaningfully engaged. It must be authentic. Team members, people in general, everyone can tell a fake person a mile away, and you will not get their best effort if you are fake and not authentic. Okay? Now, here's some strategies for meaningful engagement. Ask your team to identify meaningful ways they can benefit from collaboration. Okay? Work with your team to identify their skills, strengths, and special abilities so they can be centered in the collaboration process. All right? Offer opportunities to your team that enrich their quality of life and promote personal and professional development through professional coaching. Hire someone from outside the company to come in and work with your team. Hire a coach to work with them on being better leaders and being able to manage the different relationships that they have. All right? Hire someone from outside the company reduces monotony. 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 I'm having a hard time spitting my words out today, right? So the next one is you got to facilitate meaningful person-to-person connections such as mentorship. All right? On your team, if you have someone that is a leader type, all right, have them mentor someone else that needs that leadership attention. Okay? Sometimes you can't do it. All right? So having mentorship programs is very important to facilitate meaningful engagement. All right? Create a safe atmosphere that values positive thoughts and behaviors and encourage productive feedback. All right? Equip team members with the education and tools necessary to advocate for their immediate needs and collective goals. Okay? So those are strategies for meaningful engagement. That's something that helps bring your team together. It helps them understand that they're in this together, that you're in this with them because you're doing all it takes to help them not only come together but accomplish their goals as a team and as individuals, right? Meaningful engagement allows you to give their work life meaning, and that's what's important. You got to give their work life meaning. A lot of team members, a lot of associates, employees, they don't feel like their work life has meaning. So having engagement and meaningful engagement gives their work life meaning. Okay, so it's very important. Now, you got to ask yourself, do you want your team to change the world? Do you want them to feel like they can and want to change the world? Well, you know what your number one job is? Find out what matters to them, right? They are not in control of the world, but they are in control of themselves, how they act, think, and feel, okay? They are meant to be world changers, but they can't be until you find out what is meaningful to them and what matters to them, all right? Your team must set the conditions for their work life and growth. It will not just happen. It requires hard work, maximum effort, sacrifices, taking chances, fighting through adversity, and being intentional. And as a leader, that's what you have to bring together. Okay? Does your team have a personal growth plan? How will they get better? They need help planning long-term production and how to build from day-to-day activities to get there. Right? It's about having an impact. They need to have an impact. Living a life of transcendence and legacy of giving more than receiving. Let me say that again. Living a life of transcendence and a legacy of giving more than receiving. How will they get the most out of their work? Okay? How will they get the most out of their work? That's what they're wondering. All right? If they know what matters, they will work hard and live a happy life. Their impact must last beyond them. Okay? What they have isn't what matters. They matter and people matter. Okay? They were meant to make a difference in this world. All right? And it's up to you as a leader to help them make that difference. What are they going after? They need to know what they're going after to make that difference. What do they want to be? You got to find out what each of your team members want to be, right? They must live and work with a purpose. They must live and work with a purpose. All right? So now I'm going to give you the top 10 team member life regrets. These are your top 10 team member life regrets, okay? The first one is, I wish I had lived true I wish I'd lived life true to myself and not the life others expected or compared to others. Right? I wish, let me repeat that again. I wish I had lived life true to myself, not the life others expected or compared to others. Right? The next one is I wish I had the courage to express my feelings more, allow myself to love and be loved. I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. I wish I had pursued my dreams and aspirations, persevered, and kept going. I wish I had taken more risks and chances, experienced more cultures. I wish I had realized contentment and happiness are a choice. More perspective, right? I wish I had taken better care of myself physically, emotionally, and spiritually. I wish I had touched more lives and inspired more people. I wish I had learned the necessary transferable job skills to prepare me for the real world and job position opportunities. And this last one, listen very carefully. I wish I wasn't in the position now to be saying I wish. Right? So those are your top team member life regrets. And that's something that you will know and you will find out by getting to know them as people, not just employees. Okay? Find out to them what matters in their job, where they're trying to go and what they're trying to work toward. Okay? As a leader, you must help your team members get out of wish mode, get out of I wish mode. All right? Okay, there's going to be barriers. You got to help them identify those barriers. And this is how you build trust with your team members. Establishing and building trust is essential to any effective working relationship. Once rapport is established, genuine collaboration begins. So you got to take down those barriers, all right, to start building trust. The potential barriers that you will have are cultural incompetence and cultural insensitivity. Cultural incompetence is misunderstanding the needs and values of each team member who lived experiences different from your own. Okay? That's from you as a leader to them and from them to each other as a team member. All right? Cultural insensitivity is the inability or unwillingness to identify and accept cultural differences and power imbalances. Okay? Those are potential barriers as a leader that you have to understand. You have to break them, and to do that, you will build trust. All right. Here's some strategies to building trust. Understanding common traumas and stresses of each team member to avoid repeating them, which could be triggering. Okay. Maintain an accepting and affirming environment that meets physical and emotional safety needs. Okay. Anticipate cultural differences. Respond with sensitivity, compassion, and a commitment to learning. Right? Now, again, if you want to break those barriers, you have to get to know your people. All right? You have to get to know what their culture is all about. Okay? What their idealisms are about. All right? And be able to teach each one how to blend them in and accept them from each other, and you accept it from them. Okay. Now, again, this podcast, this show is about developing leaders of tomorrow today. Okay, developing leaders of tomorrow today. You have to promote and respect the autonomy of your team while intentionally creating space for personal and professional growth. All right? Here's a potential barriers to this. Leadershipism. What is leadershipism? The belief that you know more about what your team needs than they themselves. It is the systemic boss mentality and prejudice against your team based on their lower position. So if you have leadershipism, you need to get rid of it. Okay? It's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt your team. It's going to hurt your success. All right? Exploitation. That's another barrier. Treating your team unfairly in order to benefit from their efforts. All right. So you got to treat your team fairly. What you have to let them know that what they're doing is important. When they win, you win. You have to acknowledge their wins and let them know if they don't win, you don't win. Okay? So you have to treat your team fairly and let them know that you benefit from what they do and that you're grateful for that. Right? Okay, here's some strategies to consider. Invite and help your team to make decisions that they feel are best for the team and respect their choices. Right? Invite and help your team make decisions that they feel are best for the team and respect their choices. Encourage your team to advocate for themselves and their peers, right? Get them to help each other, lift each other up. Identify and remove organizational barriers between your team and authority figures. Okay, it's got to be a great line of communication, a great line with culture, a great line with everything you're doing. Okay, it's got to be a line there that they know they can reach out and touch someone. Put it that way. Okay. Each team member has different strengths. Use them in combination with effective leadership to allow them to grow into leaders themselves. Okay. Make decisions through group discussion and critical analysis rather than simple majority votes. All right. Simple majority votes don't always work. It rarely works. Okay. That's leadershipism. All right. Include your team. Make decisions with them. Okay. They would definitely be more involved, and they will work even harder to make sure whatever y'all come up with together works. All right. Now, again, this show is about developing leaders of tomorrow. Okay, world changers, right? So why should you invest in your team? Why should you? Right? Your team members experience greater expectations surrounding their role, not only in their job, but in society, and more significantly, peer relationships as they transition from situations of dependency to one of greater autonomy. All right? The changes team members are experiencing render them sensitive to both positive and negative environmental influences. This is a critical time in which trajectories can change based on inputs. Positive, constructive, and directional interventions during changes are critical for breaking turnover cycles and manifestations of inequality. Okay? So that's why it's important to invest in your team. There's so many factors that go into them feeling a part of what you're trying to build. Okay? And you have to understand that. It's not just the job, it's not just their position, it's what's going on in their total life. Okay? Everything is a competition with everyone. All right? Everyone wants to move up, everyone wants to move forward, everyone wants to climb that ladder. But you got to understand why. Okay? You got to understand all of your team members' whys. All right? That's why it's important to invest in them. Okay, I just said why. Okay, now, why? This is why. Transferable job skills, being seen and heard, having a sense of belonging, and emotional connection, and confidence are what team members are lacking, right? This creates difficulty with overcoming obstacles, solving problems, discovering visions, believing in themselves, and achieving goals, individually and team goals. Okay? Let's talk about transferable skills. Transferable or portable skills are all the skills that you take with you from one job or position to another one. For instance, the ability to clearly communicate ideas to others, solve unexpected problems, or work well in a team are all examples of transferable skills. You need to help your team develop transferable skills, okay? This will help them move from position to position, okay? And if they're trying to move to another job outside your company, hey, help them. If they're doing a great job for you and they see opportunity elsewhere that can benefit their life and what their personal goals are, help them, develop them to be able to accomplish those goals. That's what being a leader is all about, right? There's a correlation between transferable job skills and mental well-being. Okay, mental well-being is it's getting talked about more and more today than it ever has been, and it needs to be. People need to understand that. Okay, there is a correlation between transferable job skills and mental well-being. When team members don't have the transferable job skills to handle different experiences and changes that occur, they lose self-esteem and belief in themselves, right? This leads to anxiety and depression, which leads to bad decisions and actions. Okay? So having fundamental transferable job skills will help solve job and position related problems before team members even know they exist. So what do I mean by that? Again, if your team members don't have those transferable skills, um, they're going to lose self-esteem, which is going to bring anxiety and depression. Okay, because they know there's a lot of things out there that they don't know and they need to know to accomplish the goals they want to accomplish, but they don't know how to go about developing those transferable skills. Okay, so again, that's when all the mental well-being comes in place. And so if your team members have the transferable skills that they need to move from job to job, position to position, goal to goal, anxiety and depression is not going to come in. And that's what I mean by problem solved before they even know exist, right? There's a lot of people out there that don't understand anxiety and depression because they've never been through it, right? They've been in positions where they have been able to either learn transferable job skills or learn the different things they needed to get through the different obstacles and challenges in life. So they never experienced anxiety and depression, right? So they're solving a problem before they even know it exists by being able to get through those challenges and obstacles. So helping your team members develop transferable job skills will help them avoid anxiety and depression. It helped them avoid feeling alone, losing confidence, and losing self-esteem. And in long term, it's going to help them, help you, help your company achieve a higher level of success. Okay? So, leaders, again, it is your job to develop leaders of tomorrow, develop world changers. Okay? It is a problem worth solving. All right? And I have a saying when it comes to team members and developing leaders of tomorrow. If you build them, they will grow. If you build them, they will grow. All right? Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Hands On Experience Show. Again, I'm not hard to find. You can reach me at reggie.hanson@hansoncoaching.com. That's my email. You can go on my site at hansoncoaching.com. And see all the different programs I have and see what I do. Sign up for a free consultation. I have new programs, new leadership programs, and new career transition programs, and accountability programs that I'm excited about for 2023. So definitely go check those out. Sign up for your free consultation, okay? And make sure to listen, share, subscribe, and download your favorite shows of this podcast so you can keep it handy and convenient to pull it out when you need it, all right? My show can be heard on Apple, Amazon Music, Anchor, Spotify, Google, and the video version can be seen on Spotify. All right? Have a great day, and let's get kicking in this new year. 2023 is here.